Ladies, gentlemen, MBs, welcome back to another reaction. Today we're listening to the Provocateur by ADÉLA. I know nothing about ADÉLA. I feel like we've been on a little bit of a stretch here the last couple of weeks of going through artists that I haven't really had the chance to learn or that are putting out new music. This is a little bit of an older album. Old being 1 year, but I need a kind of a little bit of a short one this week. One, a little bit of a life schedule type thing, but two, also got my birthday this weekend, and I'm gonna be so real, don't really want to be editing a video. That kind of leads me to this, why I'm doing this video or this reaction today. This has been on my list quite literally since like the channel's inception. I feel like along with Jade, this ADÉLA project has been on my radar for a hot minute, but it's always been kind of an odd timing sort of thing where I feel like I have so many big artists and big albums to do, and I feel like these videos are notoriously long as is, but for this being only a 20-minute long thing, it's been kind of hard for me trying to find time or like finding where to place this, essentially my kind of scheduling, because I only do one video a week at this time. But I figured here's a perfect opportunity. I finally do it, so appreciate y'all just giving this suggestion. I promise you, if you give suggestions and you keep plugging them enough, I promise you I am listening, and I promise I will get to them, but just at some point. So, as per usual, say it with me now. If you've been around the block, you know the drill. We're gonna look at the Genius real quick, just as a little bit of an album background, just to maybe learn a little bit about ADÉLA, and then we'll kind of move to, push it to the side, and we'll kind of make our own interpretation on lyrics. I don't know if this is gonna be a lyric-focused album. I'm looking at the genres here, looking at electro pop, dance pop, electro clash, and electro house. So, predicting just kind of a fun vibe, but at the very least, we'll look out to lyrics and we'll try to make our interpretations of whatever comes up. But without further ado, let's get into the Genius. So the Provocateur is ADÉLA's debut EP, which features 6 tracks that were released independently before its release. The main single, Sex on the Beat, is a fun electronic song that, this album is ADÉLA's statement as an artist who isn't afraid of controversy, who produces her work, and who is dedicated to creating her unique space in the electronic and pop music world. Okay, that really doesn't tell me a whole lot about her. I tried doing a little bit of background before this reaction, just in case if the Genius wasn't thorough enough, but someone's gotta fill me in. It's my understanding that ADÉLA may have been considered for Cat's Eye before. So just interesting to know, just considering, I'm assuming then that she dances, I'm assuming obviously then that she sings. So interesting to know there that she's, the whole package as an artist. Anything else? Really, I feel like that's really it. One other thing to note, I'm just gonna kind of get these producers out of the way. Sometimes I look at the producers as we're kind of reacting, but I'm just gonna kind of get out of the way. We got some pretty crazy names. We got Grimes on MachineGirl. We got Dylan Brady from Gex. We got Dylan Harrison, which that name sounds familiar. I'm not sure if it is or not, but Slush Puppy, Liam Bennion, Riley Aki, Zone, that name also sounds familiar, and Grant Notch. Forgive me. Seems like a pretty tight group of producers. However, seems like everyone is working on MachineGirl. So I'm really curious about that track to hear how that sounds, just because it has seemingly a lot of producers on it. So, and last bit, as always, these videos are uploaded unedited early on Patreon. I know that there's been kind of an an increase of people kind of checking out the Patreon as of late from the last several reactions. So I just gotta say thank you so much for supporting. You watching this video is more than enough. I'm not trying to guilt you in any sort of way to subscribe to the Patreon. If you do it, I appreciate it immensely. I don't make any sort of dollars or any sort of monetary amount from these videos, so it's appreciated. But obviously it's not why we do this channel. It's just a fun thing that I do. I don't know, I feel like you guys have put me onto so much music that I either should have known or that I wouldn't have known otherwise. So at the very least, that's what this is all about. So I appreciate y'all being here in any sort of capacity. But let's just get onto the damn album. Oh, and the album artwork. She Be Pissin'. Don't know what it means. Track 1, Supercar. Ooh. Okay. I'm turning this up so big time in my headphones. It's Superscar. Superscar, thank you. Superscar. I'm gonna actually run this one back because I feel like we just got right into this. Like literally 22 seconds in, we're already doing like this pre-chorus thing. So it makes sense that this song has as many streams as it is because this is like pop distilled to its purest format, just hitting bam, 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 going through the motions. Leading with like a synth idea, taking up 3 seconds there, but like we're already into the verse. And even this verse is only like 8 bars. Like it's so quick. Oh, crazy synth there. Okay. Pushing the music into my head a little bit more. Good chord. Nice. Okay, I was expecting us to hit that pattern again. Ooh. Okay, cool little harmony thing going on there. Classic case of already getting the melody line in my head. Okay, quick pause. I gotta do this so that way YouTube doesn't smite me. You know the drill. But at first, I'm gonna be a little bit honest here. On the first pass of this chorus, I was a little bit unsure. I'm not the biggest fan of like bigger chanty type choruses here, or just in general. And I think the second pass really kind of flipped that for me. I don't know. There's something. Let's hear real quick how this led in the first time. I don't know. It's kind of the same sort of arrangement. Maybe it's just the first time was just kind of getting introduced to that idea, and then the second pass was just like I know what to kind of expect it a little bit more. I don't know. I think I'm just trying to piece together like why is it clicking for me? I don't know. I feel like part of me having these discussions here is just trying to figure out why things work. And so unfortunately, you got to suffer me trying to vocalize this. But let's run this back real quick to kind of hear how it leads in. Maybe we can try to piece this together and see why it works. Ooh, good chord harmony leading up to this. I think it's just catchy. That's quite literally it. If it wasn't catchy, I think it could sound totally cheesy. Okay. Cut the music for the dance break. What song from the Slater album did the same sort of pattern? I just had to note it. It's just a really that melody line was super duper catchy, so I just had to point it out. Okay. Nice. Quick little drop in there. I love that chord there too. Ooh. Halftime, okay. Quick switch up, I like that. Outro dance break. Okay, I'm gonna pause. I don't know if there's any sort of transitions, but I'm just gonna lead into this with the intentions that there is, and if there isn't, so be it. I can understand. I feel like when I reacted to the Jade album, I got a lot of people asking me to react to this album, and I'm kind of getting a similar vibe in terms of messaging here. Now, again, I don't know what her background is. I don't know if she was a part of any groups. I don't know if she was just a solo artist that's just kind of brought a little bit more to my attention now. That's kind of more so on the rise. Monthly listener wise, she seems pretty on par with like Slater and them. So, but mentioning a lot of industry stuff though. And I know I mentioned that she was considered for Cat's Eye, so it makes me kind of believe that she's been in the industry, and therefore, obviously, the song's touching on it a little bit more directly on the background. But tells all his time, it seems like, on this channel. I feel like we're getting a lot of I just don't understand why these labels are like Ray, her label didn't want her to release the album or whatever. Jade, you know, she getting screwed over by the music industry and what she went through. Now we got ADÉLA here, like. I don't understand these labels that are just like not tapped into like what's working, because like 50 million streams, come on, like what are we doing here? I don't know, but just want to note that interesting sort of theming. But yeah, just going back real quick, just to put a cap on my kind of pin here about this chorus. Yeah, again, just a little bit of a preconceived notion personally, with just a little bias with kind of chanty choruses. But by the second and third time it came around, it's already kind of stuck in my head. So at the very least, there's that. And I think it'd just be really fun for a concert. And I feel like this song is just a really great opener. Really kind of sets the tone here. A little bit more pop forward than maybe I was expecting with some of those genres I listed off at the beginning too. But hey, I guess we kind of got some places to expand into. Just the intro track. But all in all, I think a fantastic opener just to kind of set the tone in terms of where she's at, learn a little bit about her. But let's see where she develops her sound on track 2, Sex on the Beat. Ooh, cool vocal chop. Nice. Nice, okay. Ooh. Nice. I like that it did like the little offbeat rhythm change there. This was what I was expecting, maybe a little bit more from the intro track. Ooh. Wow, these bass stabs are so saturated. I'm gonna do a quick pause before this before this kind of drops. I promise I'll run it back. Classic. Kind of what I'm getting off, I mean, from this lyric and obviously some of this. I don't know, it's kind of interesting framing for this song. It's very dancey, it's very, obviously, sexy, but like the subject matter is very derogatory or like degrading, which again, there's kind of a nuance there in terms of, you know, but I feel like we've touched on this, I feel like in a couple albums with even like the Ethel Cain. Maybe that's the album I'm thinking of, I don't know, of where there's kind of a fine line between body positivity and all that with getting objectified, and this is more so unfortunately leaning, I feel like, on the objectifying lens. But I think it's really interesting that we're having such like a poppy fun beat that we're kind of like playing into that a little bit. But just a quick note, let's run this back real quick just so we kind of hear how this kind of chorus leads in again. Okay. Hearing that thicker offbeat hi-hat coming. Oh my God. Hello? Okay, hey, I gotta run the back. I was not ready for that. I can't turn up any more headphones, so I gotta do a push it into my brain moment. The double hit there too. Oh my god, I love this. Oh, I love the snare. Oh, I love the snare. I love this. Just purely metal banging on like a sheet pan. Okay, only complaint with that song, why was that outro not longer? That was hard. That was so hard. We're slowly creeping up, I feel like, into the like intensity that I was kind of expecting. I feel like the first song was a little bit more, again, more true poppy. There was a little bit of some sort of electronic, obviously electronic elements, but like a little bit more aggressive. But like this song started off was like one step up, and then this outro was like 10 steps up even from that. So definitely ended the way I thought this was going to kind of be as an album. So I fuck with that a lot, that outro. I really like the way it contrasts that poppiness with the heaviness of selling sex as an image and brand without necessarily wanting to. Like it's still showing off that fakeness. Okay. I think that's a little bit more of an eloquent way of trying to piece together what I was trying to say. Yeah, it's tough. There's obviously like a fine line of feeling sexy and feeling good and all that, but also selling, like you mentioned, selling sex for the male gaze and all that. So very important distinction there. I love what she did with the music video. Like she's selling sex because she wants to, not because then that is more so in the vein of what I'm trying to extrapolate as the message here. Cool. Fuck with that a lot. But I'm really kind of curious to hear if we kind of keep this up with the song MachineGirl. So she's a product of distortion, brutalistic in her own way. What I'm back to your contortion. She mentioned contortion or something like that in the last song too. Ooh. Okay. Oh, the way she sang that. What's that even mean, girl? Ooh. Okay, catchiness from the jump. Those first couple phrases, already knew how I was going to kind of lead in. I like that. Good songwriting. But I love that, like the way that it got so melodic there at the end. I'm gonna run that back just to hear that catch again. Mean girl, what's that even mean, girl? Ooh. We make the world go round. Nice. Ooh. Hang on. There's a cool little... Yeah, that cool stomp in the back. Okay, quick pause one more time. I really like the way that this is like such like a weird nerd like pre-chorus prose thing, but I like in the same, like on that third line, so we had the pre-chorus drama, borderline, prima donna singing. I really liked on that third line that she said prima donna, and then the third line on that first pre-chorus she used Madonna. I like that the way it both ended in those annas. And singing, just kind of as a recap moment. Want to unplug those first two lines, obviously a little bit different, but just a cool little bit of a word scheme, rhyming, cohesion type moment. I like that. I like the consistency there in the writing. And obviously it works. Prima donna with the subject matter here. Or personal prima donna, better yet. I think they put the claps in here. Keep the momentum up. Cool little glitch there. Yeah, I think that was a really necessary track. I think I'm going under the assumption, I mean, again, we're only 3 tracks in. I'm going to assume that the majority of this is going to be kind of more pop world focused and kind of, you know, dealing with her label and just everything that pop girls kind of go through in the industry and all that. But I think it's a really great song subject matter wise. I mean, this channel is notoriously not even pretty much exclusively pop girls, and we know how they're typically received. I feel like people always place the pop girlies under like way crazier expectations, despite kind of the pop girlies holding down the music scene right now. You heard it here first. And I don't know, I feel like people always want to scrutinize the pop girls for all the dumbest shit possible. And yeah, I think Coachella this weekend is a fantastic example of that. It shuts out Digital Gland chat as per usual, but it seems like the girls are kind of the only ones getting the blunt of the negative attention here. So it's about how people are comparing them. Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Or it's even like, why are we comparing them? Like, wow, what a crazy sentence for me. But like, I don't know. Why can't they just make their own art, and why does one thing have to be better than another? But that's a whole other topic of discussion. But anyways, yeah, I think a fantastic message, super duper catchy. Obviously, you know, if we're doing a pop album touching upon the pop industry, it's got to be catchy, and this is that. So TLDR, banger track, super fun. I thought this was super interesting that this was the one that I believe Grimes was on, or as a songwriter and producer, and I can kind of hear that just in the melody contour. It feels more Grimesy. So track 4, Homewrecked. You know, maybe we'll get actually just based on the sub name, maybe we'll get a little bit of blend or diversion in subject matter. But track 4, Homewrecked. Let's find out. They really love these vocal forward like effects and all that on this album. Okay, that was cool to hear a little bit of her like lower register. Do I know this one? Why did that? Okay, I know I've kind of predicted some of these choruses, how they've been the contour, and like I don't know, obviously know the words, but like how the melody's gonna sound, but like that sounds like actually like I've heard it before. Was this like a TikTok thing or something? I don't know where or why I would have heard this, but maybe it's just the chord progression or something. But ooh. Ooh, okay.
You left a mark, forever scar my heart. I'm hopelessly devoted to not loving in the dark.
Okay, I like the kind of even theming cohesion here. I remember on SexOnTheBeat and MachineGirl, there was me and Post put the word that there was like a common thread word there, and I like that we're now mentioning kind of scars on the heart. You know, obviously we got the first track, Superscar. So I like even that in the just lyrical writing, that there's a lot of not just vague themes that are overlapping. I like that there's more direct symbolism here. Nice. Okay, super duper catchy. Probably the catchiest one I feel like out of the bunch so far. How is she doing this now? There's something super interesting about the way she's saying it. It's like so perfect. It's like synth like. Yeah, like that. Okay, got some good high vocals in there too. I feel like I really haven't been commenting too much on that. Yeah, what? Okay, I understand their background vocals. That's what they're called for a reason. They're for the background, not the lead vocal. But like, do we not hear what she just did in that last note there? Like, there was like so much reverb and like it muddied it too much. But like, come on, like, let's hear the note. No shade to her producers and all that. Obviously, you know, I think it sounds good. It sounds good in the context of the song. I understand that backing vocals. That's just what they're for. But like, man, we gotta put that front and center. That's gotta be the start of the show. You know what I'm saying? In terms of mixing and all that. But I don't know. I'm really just kind of curious where she kind of goes from here. I'm not gonna try to spoil my end album thoughts here, but I like that this is becoming such like a tight package here. I'm kind of curious why this was an EP and not an album, unless maybe she just thought the idea was just meant to only be 7 songs and that was just all that she had to give. But I don't know, I guess it also kind of makes me hype for whatever her first album is. Maybe she thought that, I don't know, I'm totally speculating. I don't know what the reason why this was an EP, but at the very least, I like that this is so tight and concise and focus on its, you know, messaging. But also I think that all these songs so far have been really, really catchy. But I would argue this is definitely the most catchiest. I don't know where I've heard this, if this was a sound on TikTok or something, but keeping up that catchy streak, I guess. Okay, let's get into track 5, Go. Seemingly one of the lower streamed ones, not a dig. I'm just on the note. I feel like I always mention the stream, so just kind of curious about that. Maybe it's more album cut sounding. I think album cuts are a great opportunity for artists to show their range, so let's listen to that with this perspective. But let's hear track 5, Go. Was it Clams Casino type chop thing here? Ooh. I'm just gonna run this whole song back. I really love the tone we're setting here. So to answer my question, I understand why it says less streams, because it's less poppy, less whatever, less kind of in your face, I suppose. It's a little bit more subdued. I feel like that's kind of been a common thread we see on a lot of these albums. I feel like a lot of more stripped back personal songs don't get as many streams because people don't want to get in touch with their emotions, whatever. But I'm already loving the sound palette we're getting here. It's super duper ethereal. I feel like we've had this vocal chop lead in for like vocals for the majority of this album, but I like that this synth was kind of doing that. Find this nice rich warm tone underneath with their vocals just to kind of glide on top here. LA Angel City. Oh. Okay, I need this chorus to...
Right.
I'm gagged. Okay, hang on. I wanted it to drop hard, but like I wasn't ready for that. Hang on. I just gotta run that whole section back. That went so hard. Wait.
Right.
Doing the hard side chain here. Just. Good call and response type beat here. Now we're back into this chill chorus. Real? I'm really loving this song that the chorus is fantastic. The chorus is loud, abrasive, super duper cathartic sounding, but I really love that these verses are a little bit more quiet and subdued. I mentioned this a lot, and I feel like there's some things I mentioned in some of these albums that come up again and again, but I think they're just really great techniques that have to be mentioned every time that they're done. I really love that these choruses I keep saying choruses. I love that these verses are more subdued and pulled back in terms of the vibe, because it allows me as the listener to focus, I feel like, a little bit less on the production and a little bit more on what she's saying. I feel like we're getting way more introspective here than, I don't want to say way more, because obviously we've got quite introspective on the first several tracks here, but I don't know, it's just kind of a different blend. I feel like it's a little bit of a different kind of introspection here. I love that the first section was kind of her getting into LA, and it seems like the second kind of chorus is her actively in it, or just kind of like the after effects of that. So also love that as well. It's kind of great storytelling within this song in itself. Let's run this back a couple bars here. Okay, when this chorus runs again, I gotta like smash my headphones into my head. Again, I can't turn it up more in my mixer, so.
Right.
And like the verses are so much more quiet, where we have so much more mix room for this chorus to go crazy. Ooh. Great synth work going on here too. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna break what I said at the intro here. Who are the producers on this? Dylan Brady checks out. Okay, those are lyrics. Okay, well, all the collaborators on this cooked. Yeah, I love this. This was a great tone switcher I feel like we needed for this album, or this project, I suppose. Where again, I appreciate the last couple tracks gave more different kinds of introspection while having kind of the more pop-facing vibe. But yeah, like I mentioned, I think that this one inherently is a little bit more album cutty, but again, that's not a derogatory thing at all. I think this kind of just touches on kind of different styles that maybe she wouldn't have touched upon otherwise, or you know that she wanted to express a little bit differently. But yeah, she cooked. TLDR, she cooked. That actually might be my favorite track. I think that one really did a great job of also blending these kind of two different styles between the verse and the chorus as well. So let's get into track 6. Death by Devotion. 2 more tracks to go. Let's see if we can round this out. Whoa! I was not expecting us to get this tempo. I can't even think of what EDM genre I'm thinking of. It's like a down tempo, or put it here. But like I feel like we haven't really had this in the pop front in a hot minute. Ooh. Nice. I really love that these chord progressions she's using are super. I just gotta let her cook. Hang on, I'll finish that statement. Okay, as I was saying, I think that the chord progressions and a lot of the melodic stuff that or like the melody lines are very like rooted in like true pop. I think that like if you look at just the chord progressions specifically, like I feel like they're pretty predictable, but I don't think that's a bad thing at all. I think it lends the listener to its catchiness just from the jump. I think that's kind of cueing me into feeling like I know these songs right away. But I think it's also not just the chord progression. I think a lot of people put a lot of focus on that. Like we don't need these crazy 7th jazz chords and all that to make a good pop song. I think really all this other production and of course Adele's voice as well is really kind of doing the heavy lifting here. It's not just the chords, it's the whole package, you know what I'm saying? So just something to note as I'm just kind of listening through this. Having the adrenaline. Nice. Okay, I got a peek as well. Okay, did Dylan Brady like executive produce like this whole thing essentially? I'm seeing him on here a lot. Oh, ride snare. That was cool. Or crash even. Hello? Okay, where? I gotta remind myself to close my mouth. That bass hit. Okay, I said it in one of the other songs. I'm gonna say it again. Great song, cool banger. Biggest gripe I have so far is how do you do this cool outro bridge thing, whatever. But man, why did we cut that? We could have had that go to like a whole second song. I mean, listen, I know we're doing the pop format thing. You know, the track was already 3 minutes, 16 seconds long, which for pop standards is too damn long. It's already the longest track seemingly on the album, which isn't that long. But like, I don't know. I think she's doing a great job of narrative songwriting, just in her lyrics and her songwriting. But I think these styles too, and these outros, like, give me like a 7-minute ADÉLA like dance cut. I'm here for it because I can see that. I can totally see that like being perfect. So yeah, I think this also just kind of a great way to kind of pick up to the end of the album with the theming again, getting worked by the machine, as we mentioned kind of previously. It's kind of tough also, I feel like, especially in her case. It's like this is the thing that you probably grew up training for your whole life, and it's like, yes, you can, argue, turning your passions into a job is inherently always going to be it's going to be a little bit less enjoyable, but like to the case of the music industry, and especially the kind of where she's at in it, is a whole different beast. So kind of a shame there, but again, tales all this time. Definitely hear this messaging quite a bit. But let's get into track 7, Finally Apologizing. Interesting. I was going to say, hopefully she can kind of move on from this, and it seems like she's, broke from a lot of this and is doing things independently, or at least to an extent as a solo act. But let's hear track 7, Finally Apologizing. Let's see what we kind of get what we're apologizing for. Whoa, okay, hang on. Let's get the transition from track 6 outro, maybe. Yeah, okay, we're kind of, I get it now. We're getting a little bit more of that higher tom kind of dancey vibe, and we're leaning into track 7 here with yeah. Okay, same chord. Can go down. I love this percussion topping. This is incredible. I like the hint of like the vocoder sound in there too. She really loves using that throughout this album. Ooh. Super bona vocal. Whoa! know we just like listened to like the Slater album, and like I feel like we've been a little bit on like a dancier kick, but like I feel like some of these drops have like really kind of taken me aback. Like I love what we were doing here with like this Tom like rhythmic dancey house thing, whatever. And I would have been okay with that if that was the vibe for the whole song. But like this electro bass thing here. Like, and we have this super duper blown out vocal, the super duper reverbed and muddied, and then we have like the driest, most center, distorted bass sound in the middle of all time. Like, let's run it back one more time. God. What you want from me? What you want from me? Ooh.
Sorry, them the friends are all still friends with me.
Okay.
And then I'm not as bad as you want me to be. You only get to know me.
Ooh, okay. Fortunately, I was yapping too much in the song. I'm connecting more with the lyric writing on this one. Wow. Nice, adding a little harmony with their vocal here too. What you want from me? Wow. Oh, yes, yes. Okay, I know I'm pausing with 10 seconds left, but like this melody line here in this outro literally sounds like the Internet Girl chorus. I know it's just kind of some bias there, confirmation bias, but like... Okay, real quick, just as a quick lyric skim through before I kind of get into the wrap up here, because that was a crazy outro. Maybe that's why I don't work too well in groups. Okay, so I'm kind of curious, was there like drama there or anything with the whole cat's eye thing, or it was you just simply just didn't want to do it? I don't know. Maybe I'm instigating here. I think it's really interesting. This can kind of go on a couple fronts here. You only get to know me parasocially and all that. I'm going to touch on what I don't think it is before I touch on what I think it is. I think it's interesting that apologizing, you won't get what you want from me. I feel like that could be to the music industry, more so like her label and all that. Probably is partially, but definitely I think in the second verse, talking more parasocially, I think is also about the audience. I know I just mentioned about people expecting things from artists, specifically female artists, but artists in general. When you're on a spotlight, people expect you to be a certain way for some reason. And I think this is a great kind of song, kind of putting the mic back at everyone else, being like, this is who you're talking to, and I'm not gonna kind of conform to that. I think that's a fantastic kind of wrap up from the subject matter throughout this album, but yeah, I think I'm just going to end this here real quick. I'm just going to do a little bit of the end album recap. I know I keep saying album. This is really an album. It says EP here. But all in all, I feel like as typical, I feel like I'm always kind of saying the same thing at the end of a lot of these end recaps here. But for these artists I'm not super familiar with. But I think this was a great little package of getting to know ADÉLA, where she's at. Please fill me in on some of the blanks that I had kind of questions for. But again, this really just kind of makes me excited to see what she does for her first full album. It looks like she released Into You. I'm not sure if this is a new song or whatnot. I don't know when she's cooking, what she's cooking, but it seems like we're kind of due for something. It's saying here Superscar was late 2024, and this project came out August 2025. So it's been like a good 8 months or so. But I think we're probably due. So I'm happy I did this when I did, because I'm sure we'll be doing ADÉLA in the near future here. But yeah, great to finally get to this. Again, I know I mentioned at the beginning, but I feel like people have been recommending me to do this since forever. Oh, she's got a new song coming out this Friday. Okay, on the radar now. But I feel like we've been putting this off for a hot minute. Again, not because I don't want to react to it. It's going to happen at some point, but I think it also just, I don't know, it's just a little bit harder. I feel like with this being such a shorter album, I feel like me usually do the album format. I mean, if we're looking at this Patreon recording, it's already over an hour. I'm sure we do be yapping. This could have been an album reaction, but yeah, TLDR, I'm just excited to see what she does next. I hope she maybe does some different sounds. It'd be cool to hear what she does in terms of that, but I hope on the other end that she sticks with some of these producers as well, because some of these sound palettes, like in Finally Apologizing and Go, incredible. These incredible drops. So I hope she makes new relationships, but I hope she nurtures and develops some of these other relationships that she made on here as well. So thank you so much for being here. I appreciate y'all as always for watching. Probably by the time I edit this will probably be a shorter reaction, but we'll be in it full force next week again for another album reaction. But again, please let me know what you want me to react to in the future. If I don't react to it right away, at the very least, I promise you I'm making notes and we'll react to it in the future. So we got a couple projects like that. Like, what is it, Leanne? I know I mentioned Jade earlier. That's kind of on the potential radar for down the line. It'll happen. Trust. But thanks for being here. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.